What is going on, everybody? ZyoniK here, and in today's video, the Ultra League is here, and my gosh, what a shakeup we have had. I don't know if you guys have seen the new rankings on PvPoke, but there are a lot of fresh faces there in the top meta, while still having very strong old meta Pokemon, so your roster isn't completely destroyed, which is really nice, which we can't say for the Great League because there's been even bigger shakeup. But today, what I'm going to be running is Shadow Machamp as my anchor. Shadow Machamp got a just massive upgrade, with Karate Chop being the top meta fighting fast move. Counter is no longer the best. It's all about Karate Chop. It's all about that energy gain when you have Cross Chop and Stone Edge. So this is double legacy. Yes, I did use Elite TMs to make it possible because the old move set was Counter, Rock Slide, and Cross Chop, right? But now you got to use two Elite TMs, Elite Charge TMs, or one Elite Fast, one Elite Charge. You guys get what I mean. I used them. I thought though it was worth it. I saw value in it, and it did so well. Now, Feraligatr, because the Shadow Claw is meta, we're utilizing that there as the safe swap. And what I love to do is I went to pvpoke.com on Team Builder. I put these two as my backline, and then out popped a great lead, that being Drifblim with the updated Astonish. Astonish is basically on par with Ice Shard, much like you see from Dugong, but it hits harder. It's got the great energy gain, and it hits hard. I faced off against a Sylveon today, and it was going par on par with Charm, which was really cool to see. This team did phenomenal for me today. Really great coverage against the meta, so I hope you guys enjoy. All right, getting into the first battle, we have Drifblim on the lead versus Dragonite. Drifblim can do pretty well here. We got Icy Wind, and the back line as well doesn't do too bad, especially when you get yourself shield advantage. So all I'm looking to do here is soften or get the shield, soften up the attack there of the Dragonite. But boom, they just let it go, and I'm like, okay, all right. Now look at the damage that Astonish is doing. You guys saw it there against Dragonite. Now look at Swampert. This is Ultra League, mind you. I'm gonna go ahead and shield the Hydro Cannon. I think there's value here in Drifblim, considering they let the Dragonite go down. I'm guessing they're extremely weak in the back, so I'm going to swap out into Feraligatr, and sure enough, they were. There was a Venusaur there. So that was a hard read, right? If you let a Dragonite go down and you know it's Icy Wind, right? It's not going to be anything else. Odds are we land the Ice Beam as well. Odds are their core broken, so we gotta keep that one Pokemon alive just in case, as a Frenzy Plant is going to go ahead and take us out. We're going to come back in with Drifblim. Astonish, such a good move now. I have loved it on Drifblim. Really impressed with what it's able to do. I'm going to go ahead and I believe I gave up a shield here on the Hydro Cannon so that I can get the Icy Wind debuff. I build up to Shadow Ball just in case, so we really force that shield from them. And then we're going to swap into the Machamp once they go for the Hydro Cannon, because they're going to be forced to throw right here. And obviously Machamp at this range, no shields left, a Karate Chop, fast move, we're going to go ahead and swap out. Karate Chop and Cross Chop, you get to it quick, guys. This is spammy. This is like reaching levels of like Gallade spammy with Psycho Cut, right? Boom, down it goes. And that is going to be a good game, very well played. All right, moving to the next one. Ooh, Alolan Muck on the lead. This is going to be a tough one. I decided to swap into Feraligatr right away. This is a Snarl variant, so Snarl, Dark Pulse, and either Sludge Wave or Acid Spray. We'll have to see, but the Feraligatr can do well here. I just got to make sure I keep Drifblim away from it. Now, they gave up a shield right away at the start, which I thought was pretty interesting, and they're deciding to stay in. So this has given me a lot of information. Remember, always read what your opponent is doing and not doing. They're not swapping out, and they're shielding, double shielding the Muck. I'm like, okay, they're weak to Feraligatr. It's either Fire Flyers in the back, or it's something weak to Ice Beam. In comes Sylveon, and that's not what I was expecting. But I'm like, okay, I'll come in with Drifblim right here, and look at the damage. Compare Charm to Astonish. Look at it. It's going toe-to-toe with Charm, which is so cool to see. We're going to go for Shadow Ball here just because it's so much neutral damage and they have no shields remaining. And then we will give up 1 shield here. Because I don't know what Pokemon number 3 is, but I'm guessing I need to keep Drifblim alive. The Muck comes in, so we're going to go ahead and swap into the Machamp, get ahead on energy, and see what they decide to do. We know their moveset already. They've shown us Dark Pulse and Acid Spray. I don't need to fear a Sludge Wave. So I go ahead and let the Dark Pulse go. I'm going to make sure I overload extensively on energy and go for Stone Edge. And this is where everyone, Machamp is just a monster. Just boom! See ya! And then the final Pokemon is Amistar. So that makes kind of sense because they were weak to, not weak to Feraligatr, but they didn't want to come in with Amistar into a Feraligatr right there. So I was surprised the Charmer didn't come in right away, but good game to my opponent nonetheless. But obviously giving myself a massive shield advantage to a Machamp in the endgame is going to net you a lot of wins. Good battle. Alright, moving to the next one. Drifblim versus Shadow Poliwrath. Okay, this game is going to get a bit interesting right here. They instantly swap into Snorlax, so I bring in the Machamp right away. I'm going to go for Cross Chop right away because I want to make sure I throw this before they throw a potential superpower. Because I want to be able to land or get enough farm, right? If I throw it after, I may not get enough farm, so I'm going to go ahead and shield it. It's going to be superpower. We're going to farm down. And, you know, maybe I could have gotten away with not throwing it, but you know what I mean. We're going to go ahead and go for Cross Chops here against the Poliwrath. And what's great is you have that neutral damage against the fighters. And we go ahead and get a shield there, which is beautiful. We're going to go for the second Cross Chop here. This is going to be doing a lot of neutral damage. And then things are going to get a bit interesting because I try to make a 5-head play and it kind of backfires on me. Obviously, I'm going to come in with Feraligatr, and then I decide to swap into Drifblim, thinking this might be Dynamic Punch. It's not, it's Scald. I was thinking for a second, I'm like, you know what? What if they're running Icy Wind and Dynamic Punch? That would be really interesting. And I'm going to just try to see if I can catch it. It didn't work out. I caught a Scald, but that's okay because this is a Poison Jab Muck, a Alolan Muck here, which we still can overcome. Mind you, Poliwrath is basically out of energy. They got a little bit. They're close to a second charge move, but we're going to go ahead and go for Icy Wind. My opponent went for Acid Spray there, which is perfect. That means the second Icy Wind is going to be landing, and I get to counter swap because of the new 50-second switch clock timer. If you guys didn't know, it's beautiful. It used to be 60 seconds, and now it's 50. And then they swap in the Poliwrath. I know they have Scald, but I have to shield here. And it's actually going to be an Ice Punch, which is fine. This is actually better for me because then I get to farm down. If it was Icy Wind, I may not have farmed down. And now we can go for double Hydro Cannon to win this game. So good battle to my opponent. I tried to make a big 5-head play, right? I was like overthinking it. Like maybe they have Dynamic Punch and I'm going to catch it and it's going to be triple resisted. It's going to be beautiful. But that was not the case. So good battle. All right, Typhlosion. Typhlosion is deadly. Typhlosion has access to Thunder Punch now, so you gotta really be careful here. I'm gonna go ahead and give up a shield. I know it's Thunder Punch, so we're gonna go ahead and stop that. Even Blast Burn, right? You don't want to get hit with it. And then they swap out into Feraligatr. Now I make a mistake here and I go for Shadow Ball. This is an opportunity for me to go for a free Icy Wind debuff because they're likely shielding no matter what. And now I don't get to the second Icy Wind in time. I would have been able to go for double Icy Winds there, which would have net me a much better matchup. So now things are a bit dicey. I decide to come in with my own Feraligatr, hoping that I can actually get rid of theirs relatively quickly with some Shadow Claw damage and a Hydro Cannon, but the Hydro Cannon does way less than I was anticipating. It's been a while since I used a Feraligatr in the Ultra League, especially in a mirror match, so this is not ideal. Plus, at least I can save shields. I don't necessarily need to shield. Now, I don't know what they have in the back, but my hope is that I can rely on Machamp to win. And I can't. That's a Clefairy. What was it? It was... Yeah, it was Clefable. So we're going to be able to come in with Machamp here. And my only win condition... I have one win condition here. I don't even know if it's possible. I have to no-shield a Swift, right? I then have to get... I have to shield this. They go for back-to-back Swifts. I have to get a shield bait on them with a Cross Chop and land a Stone Edge while having some excess energy and delaying the switch clock long enough to catch a Thunder Punch on the Feraligatr. That's my win con. So we're going to go for the Cross Chop here. I was getting way too low with the Fairy Wind, but it's just a good game. They have a shield. I'm going to go ahead and go for Cross Chop to get the final shield from them, but I'm just going to get incinerated down. So good game to my opponent. They come in and Shadow Claw me down, and I really can't do much. So that is going to be a good game. Very well played. They have a charge move ready to go. So this game could have been completely different if I just went for Icy Wind against Feraligatr instead of the Shadow Ball. That would have made a big difference. Good battle. All right, moving to the next one. Drifblim versus Feraligatr. So a rematch against this Pokemon. Not the same trainer, but it's on the lead this time. So what we're going to look to do is they actually swap out right away into Melmetal. So I'm going to bank a Shadow Ball and swap into Machamp. Now I am concerned about a potential superpower. I'm going to throw the Cross Chop right away. I feel like this might be enough to actually just basically one-shot. But they decide to shield, and I'm like, oh, okay, all right, maybe they did want to land the superpower, which is fine. I'm going to go ahead and shield. But it was a Rock Slide. I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to risk it and just call that they're going Rock Slide here. I'm just going to call it, and it was. They just went for another Rock Slide, which is fine by me. This allows me to overload a bit, and I can go for a Cross Chop here to knock out the Melmetal, as this is clearly going to do enough damage, right? It's super effective. We take it out. And we do see a Venusaur come in, so this is actually a really good situation for me. Stone Edge, again, it's going to hit harder than you think. A lot of Pokemon take neutral damage from it, and that is an Ultra League 70%-ish hit, right? Like maybe 60 to 70 range. It's a lot of damage. Cross Chop now is going to get the final shield. They go for Frenzy Plant. Totally fine. I can let this go. I can come in with my Drifblim, go for an aggressive farm down. We are Flying Ghost. We resist Grass Poison. They swap into Feraligatr. So now I go for Shadow Ball, right? This is a no shield situation. If they had shields, I go for Icy Wind debuff. We land it, we counter swap into Feraligatr, and we're going to close this game out with an aggressive Shadow Claw farm down, and then going for that beautiful Ice Beam. Ice Beam gives you a lot of coverage in this meta, not only against Grass-type Pokemon, but you can hit stuff like Giratina Altered, which is still pretty common and strong in the Ultra League. So we're going to double no-shield the Hydro Cannons as we did Icy Wind debuff, and we have the Ice Beam ready to go here for the Venusaur, and that is going to be a good game. Very well played. Boom. See ya. All right, moving into the next one, we have Drifblim on the lead versus Giratina Altered. So this is going to be an interesting battle. I want you guys to pay attention to the damage, and they're behind, but yeah, I don't know if that was just my screen lagging. They didn't come back. It's whatever. I got 2 fast moves ahead. Like, so be it. But we're just going to go for Icy Wind. They let it go, and Astonish is doing a lot of damage. Now, I'm going to go ahead and shield because I feel like I can farm down with Astonish before they decide to swap out. So I'm going to go for Icy Wind here, and then we're going to be coming in with Feraligatr. But Astonish now is such a good move. It has been terrible for years, even after the multiple updates that it received. But third time was the charm. It is actually good this time, and it's really good on Drifblim. I tried it in Great League, tried it in Ultra League, and I was really impressed. We let the Earthquake go through as the Icy Wind debuff forces... It allows me to take less damage, right? It forces their attack to be dropped. The Hydro Cannon now is going to be thrown. They decide to shield, which is bold on them because I can knock them out with this next Hydro Cannon if they decide to let it go. But they're going to go ahead and invest double shields. And this is really interesting because a Hydro Cannon from this range with the debuff applied will not knock me out. And they go for it, which means I survive and I can go for my own Hydro Cannon So I was able to, because of Icy Wind debuff, which is why it's so important on Drifblim to be throwing that on swap-ins, it allows you to survive so many things. Giratina Alter does come in. They do get a farm down. And I'm going to come in with Drifblim, and we farm down with Astonish. Final Pokemon is going to be Walrein, so we're going to swap into that Shadow Machamp, and then we're going to go for Stone Edge. Both do super effective damage. They decide to surrender anyways, but Stone Edge hits a lot harder, right? Good game. All right, moving to the next battle. We have Togekiss on the lead. So once again, another Charm user. Let's see what Drifblim can do in this situation. Charm and Astonish, they're beating me, but I have Icy Wind debuffs, and Charm does not gain energy very quickly. So we're actually going to be dominating this lead matchup, and we get a shield, which is perfect. So now we're in such a good situation. They decide to swap out into Cresselia, and I'm like, okay, so you got a team read here. We have a free Shadow Ball that we can throw, which does land. You got a team read, and they have 2 counters to Machamp. I get to the Icy Wind in time as well. I risked it for the biscuit right there. They have 2 counters to Shadow Machamp, right? So odds are the third Pokemon is extremely weak to Shadow Machamp if you're running a Togekiss lead and a Cresselia safe swap. So we come in with Feraligatr here. I give up a shield. I just want to maintain health on it because I want to be able to take down Togekiss without taking too much damage from Charm. The next charge move coming through, I'm going to be fine letting it go. It's likely going to be Ancient Power, which doesn't do too much. And now we're sitting really good. We're going to overload a bit on energy and go for Hydro Cannon here. And then hopefully the Shadow Machamp can easily win this game. But the final Pokemon was a Giratina Altered. So 3 counters to a Shadow Machamp, but it doesn't matter, right? Feraligatr has Ice Beam, and in fact, I'm gonna no shield, and you might be, whoa, what are you doing? My win condition here is throwing Ice Beam, swapping into Shadow Machamp with a shield, and going for Stone Edge. That Stone Edge damage, I'm telling you guys, is so much neutral damage. It would have basically one-shot a Togekiss. It would have done a lot against Cresselia, and it does a lot against Giratina Altered. This is Shadow Machamp, the premier fighter, top meta as of now in Pokemon Go, and we will not be able to one-shot right away, or not one-shot, but land it. Boom. That is going to be a good game, very well played. All right, moving to the next one, we have Drifblim versus Tapu Fini. Tapu Fini, really strong in previous seasons. We'll have to see if it carries on being a top meta legendary option in the Ultra League. And they could have Nature's Madness, right? But I'm just used to the Moonblast. But this is likely going to be a Surf. So we're going to go ahead and just let it go, as it's not going to be enough to take us out. And then, I'm going to swap into Feraligatr to get ahead on energy. As this next charge move coming in, I'm going to go ahead and shield. It is, in fact, going to be Nature's Madness, which is fine. That's a good shield right there. We're going to overload. A Hydro Cannon should be enough to take him out as we go for it right here because of the added Shadow Claw damage. And even though this is resisted, it still does quite a bit. So that with the Shadow Claws is enough. And then now we get to see what they come in with. And the final Pokemon, or the second Pokemon, is Charizard with Dragon Breath. And I just thought to myself, hold on. Hold the phone. You come in with a Charizard against a loaded energy Feraligatr. This has got to be double Fire Flyer in the back. So you guys know how I want to close this game out, right? I want to close this game out with a Shadow Machamp Stone Edge as we land the Hydro Cannon right there. So I'm going to let this go. I'm like, Shadow Machamp is going to win this game for me with Stone Edge. It's going to be glorious. But they swap out and it's Giratina Altered, and I'm panicking. I'm like, no, I need to land a charge move in order to potentially win this game because Giratina Altered could win if both Drifblim and Feraligatr go down. So thankfully my Drifblim had enough health and energy where I can get to a Shadow Ball in time. So that right there is going to be the damage that I need in order to win this game, as we will come in with Machamp. So a bit A bit of a flex on me that almost backfired, but thankfully I was able to quickly recover, making the fast swap into Drifblim and getting to that Shadow Ball in time, as a Cross Chop will take it out, and that is going to be a good game. Very well played. Almost got taken out by trying to go for a flex. Good battle. Alright, moving into, I believe, this final battle. Yeah, it looks like it could be the final battle. We got Walrein on the lead, so I'm going to swap into Feraligatr right away, and we draw out a Venusaur. This is a picture-perfect setup right here. This does multiple things for us. Firstly, Ice Beam is going to be landing for a lot of damage. Secondly, the health remaining on Venusaur is going to allow the Drifblim. We let Feraligatr go. It allows Drifblim to come in and get an aggressive farm down. That energy can go a lot of places. So we're going to go ahead and go for the aggressive farm down with the updated Astonish, which now takes it out. And then we can go for Shadow Ball here against Walrein, but they will go for a Icicle Spear, which I'm going to go ahead and let go. It is super effective, but I'm hoping that Shadow Machamp can kind of close this game out for me, as we drew out a Poison-type Pokemon, so hopefully there's not a second answer in the back. So we're going to go ahead and swap out to Machamp, and there actually is not. It's an Obstagoon, which is even better. This is the best option you can have for a Machamp to be facing off against, because Karate Chop and Cross Chop are double super effective. I just need to make sure I have plenty of energy on the back end here to be able to take out Walrein. Now, I shielded Night Slash, obviously thought it was Cross Chops, which would still do neutral damage, but we should be able to take out the Obstagoon here, as the Cross Chop does get shielded. We go for the farm down here. I'm going to go ahead and shield. We can win Charge Attack priority against Walrein, and it has low enough health because of Shadow Ball, where I can safely go for Cross Chop in order to win. I could have gone for Stone Edge right there too. I had enough energy, but Cross Chop is going to be enough to take it out, and boom, that is going to be a good game. Very well played. Sorry, one more battle. My bad. Alright, this is the final battle. Aurorus! This is a tough lead Pokemon. We're going to swap out right away into Feraligatr, and we draw out a Cresselia. So, this is an interesting matchup where I might be able to push it for hard switch, but I'm going to try to play this just like the previous game where we had the Walrein lead. Aurorus and Walrein, very similar in their coverages and their weaknesses, right? Both weak to grass, both weak to fighting, and they both cover Drifblim. So we're going to try to pray that Cresselia is the only answer to the Shadow Machamp. And so we're going to let this next charge move go through, and we're going to aggressively, once again, farm down. It's literally the same percentage health as the Venusaur was. Come in with Drifblim, farm down with Astonish. They will likely get to a Moonblast, but they did it a bit early. I'm like, I think that's just Grass Knot. I'm just going to let it go, and it was Grass Knot. So we can easily tank that, as we are flying typing, or part flying typing. And then the Aurorus comes in, so we're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to go to a Shadow Ball, and we're going to fast swap out. Again, praying and hoping that there is no hard counter to Machamp anymore. So we swap in, and they swap out into their own Machamp. We have a win con, everyone. We read the team correctly. Machamp has an opportunity to take down its shiny Flex on the other side, but it's going to get very, very dicey very quickly, because I need a charge move on the back end here to ensure that I can take out Aurorus. So my timing has to be perfect. We go ahead and shield the Cross Chops. Switch Clock is coming back up, but the only way I would swap out is if I could get a double charge move here. So we're going to go ahead and shield, and then I'm going to load up to 2, because this, I lose Charge Attack priority. That was the perfect timing, right? If I didn't lose Charge Attack priority, I win, right? But now I lose. They swap into Aurorus, and it's going to be a good game. So again, they had a Weather Ball ready to go. They had that energy, and they actually had enough for basically 2 here. So I had to have 2 Cross Chops ready to go, and unfortunately I lost to Charge Attack priority. So I played it correctly, but I lost a coin flip. Maybe I could have played it a bit better, but either way, this team put in a lot of work for me. Why did it stop there? That's interesting. We'll stop there. Either way, this team put in a lot of work for me, did so well. Shadow Machamp really impressed me. It is the new top meta fighter. There's also Pangoro up there as well. I'll give that a try later on, but I just wanted to do Shadow Machamp today. Drifblim lead, so a solid core, and the Feraligatr safe swap did phenomenal. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and like always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.